Decisions made by human beings today will result for repercussions sooner or later. This relationship is not simple as we think. Human behavior is a complex matter, and the way they behave and react cannot be easily captured. This may even be complex further with different forms of agreements they made to simplify their lifestyle. You are an element who could influence the future of doctrines. You could think of your future, thus the future of your nation. Sri Lanka is experiencing a new era of socio-economic development with the post-war window opportunities. Since the fact that terrorism is no longer supposed to be a problem to economic development, governments expect to move away from the middle income trap by boosting economy.
Hello. Today I am going to present you an interview with Dr. Vasanta Tukorala, Senior Lecturer from Department of Economics and Statistics, University of P.P.A.W in Sri Lanka. He is an environmental economist who is a proactive researcher nowadays, especially in applied research and extended surveys for numerous issues in the Sri Lankan context. Dr. Vasanta, what is your overall take on the growth prospects for 2025 globally?
If you think about the world economic trend over the last, let's say, 15 years, that's mean after 2000, what I clearly observed that there is a decrease in trend, right? Say for example, if you think about the 2000 to 2009, world average growth rate is around 3.4. 2010 to 2012, it became 3.3, and then after that, 2012 to let's say 2017, it has become 1.3, right? This figure clearly shows us that the world economy, has a decreasing trend over the last 15 years, right? I would expect that it will go further down, let's say until 2020, then it will increase, right? There are several reasons why we are having this decreasing trend, maybe internal conflict and world political changes, and world has given more priority to the sustainable development goal rather than just the development activities. Some of these reasons have significantly impact on having this negative, decreasing trend, right? But again, I would assume that after 2020, it will recover and the growth rate will increase again, right? Start to increase.
Yeah. So, what is your overall assessment of Sri Lanka's growth prospects for 2025?
Right, that's a good question, right? Now, if I analyze our growth rate after 2000 until today, 2000, let's say 17 or 18, except the 2009 and 10, we have been maintaining around 5% growth rate, right? Now, again, this 2009 and 10, we had a very high growth rate. When you compare with the other Asian countries, we became actually second to only China, right? That means our growth rate were far, higher than other countries. But with the global economic trends and also internal political and other changes, we observe a significant downward trend of our economic growth. let's say, if you think about the last year growth rate, it's like 3.4 or something like that. It's very, very low growth rate, right? Now, but when you think about any political changes, immediately you can see, downward trend in the economy. After 1 or 2 years, it start recovering. That is how normally the political system and economic system are correlated, right? Therefore, I assume that whatever, if there is no government, any other, political changes, the economy will recover and it will increase. Gradually. But I don't know whether the increasing rate will be higher or lower. Anyway, there is. I would assume that the economy, right? Economy of the Sri Lanka will recover. Or there will be an increasing trend, right? Maybe there are some certain issues at the moment in the economy. I mean, with the other, if you link it with other, economy with the other aspect of the society, right? Say, for example, we have the political changes and we have some kind of social changes, and internal some ethnicity issues, and those things are playing a major role in the economy. But if you think that those will exist with the time, that means there is no solution for those things, still I would assume that there is a gradually increasing the economy will recover, or there will be an increasing trend. But if you could sort out those issues within, let's say, 1 year or 2 years, the growth in Sri Lanka, growth rate of the Sri Lanka will be higher definitely, right? At the moment, all the economy is, I would say it's stagnating because of economic policies, responsible. That is true. In addition to that, there are so many other social, cultural, and other reasons, right? Other reasons or other factors which are playing a major role behind these oral scenarios, right?
Let's focus a bit closer to the sectorial growth of Sri Lankan economy. What's wrong with it? Actually, where is it heading?
Right. Now, if you think about the sectoral aspect in the economy, we have clearly three sectors like agriculture, industry, and service sector. But if you again compare the sectoral changes, right? In let's say 1917, the agriculture sector was the major sector in the economy, and it was, the entire economy was driven by the agricultural sector. Its contribution was around 50, right? But today, the contribution of agricultural sector to GDP has decreased drastically. Its contribution at the moment like 8%, right? At the same time, the contribution of the industrial sector is stagnating. It's not fluctuating. Still, we have around 26%. But the contribution of the service sector has increased drastically, right? This trend clearly says that the country, this is common. If you think about a particular country's development process, you could observe clearly this trend. The contribution of the agricultural sector is decreasing while the contribution of the service sector is increasing, right? This has been happening in Sri Lankan economy as well. But one of the important point that we need to notice at this stage, if the contribution of the agricultural sector is decreasing and also contribution of the service sector is increasing, it gives us some signal where we need to where we need to focus or where we need to provide more incentive to have the more growth in the economy, right? At the moment, what I personally believe that rather than focusing this agriculture and we don't have advantage, actually comparative advantage in agricultural sector. Industrial sector, I'm not sure with the labor market issues and other issues. I'm not sure whether we have enough sufficient comparative advantages. Therefore, I think we need to focus more on service sector and provide more incentive to dominate the service sector in the entire economy.
You mentioned the importance of agriculture sector. What are some of key ongoing policy issues facing Sri Lanka that needed to be tackled in 2025 and beyond?
Yes, I think that is a very good question, right? There are some inherited issues in the Sri Lankan, economic issues in the agricultural sector in Sri Lanka. Now, say for example, we are providing too much subsidies for the agriculture. Now, the agriculture, the purpose of the overall goal of the agricultural sector, we are having two actually objectives. One is to feed the domestic consumer, other is earning some money from exporting, right? We basically export tea, rubber, coconut and those things. In addition to that, there are other agricultural crops that we are exporting. Now, these main agricultural commodities that we are exporting, already we have, every year we are providing $1 billion of money as the subsidies, right? This is one of the big, I see this is one of the biggest issue. Why I am saying that? Whenever you provide subsidies to any commodity, price of that commodity will be lower, right? Whenever you, if the domestic consumer consume that commodity, it won't be a problem because that subsidies directly go to the domestic consumer. But if you export those commodity, if you export those commodity, domestic consumer do not enjoy the benefit, foreign consumer enjoy the benefit, right? This is what I am saying, that we are providing $1 billion of money to the agricultural sector. After that, we produce commodity and we make them competitive. We send them to other countries. That's mean we are exporting. But at the end of the day, world consumer is enjoying the benefit, right? Now, this is one of the biggest issue in the agricultural sector. There are some more issues. Almost all in these issues. Say, for example, these marketing issues, right? Input market, output market. All these issues are linked with this mainstream, inherited issues in the sector. Therefore, what I personally believe that we need to have a more competitive sector here, right? Rather than protected, depending on subsidized and without those things, we need to make it more competitive, right? With the competition now. With the competition, there are some agricultural commodities the farmers will decide to have, others will disappear. But that is fine. Still, we are not depending on others, right? That is the main thing here.
As mentioned in Vision 2025, the government will promote a smallholder agribusiness partnership (SAP) project to enhance competitiveness. So, what is your opinion?
Yeah, I always, have some issues with all these policies because based on these subsidy issues, right? Now, even in the vision that government has, provided, right, to achieve in the future. Now, what they are covering various sectors in the economy, but what they are basically trying to do is they are trying to provide some kind of incentive. That is good, right? To enhance some sectors, right? After identify some sectors, they are trying to encourage the investment in those sectors. That's what they are trying to do, right? But one of the big that is good actually. That is what we need. We need to provide. We need to encourage. We need to provide incentives to the selected sectors which we believe should be. Have a potential to grow in the future. Right. That is good. But what I am always against, right? The way of providing the incentives. That is the biggest issue, right? More or less government, government idea or these policymakers is trying to provide some direct, maybe financial assistance or interest free loans. Again, it's a kind of subsidy, right? And also maybe loans to the subsidized loan, and that kind of things are the main things that government is trying to use, right? What I'm always trying to say that these are not the real incentives. These are sometimes this type of incentive, rather than encouraging the producers or whoever, right, it can discourage, right? That's when it can have some negative impact, right? This is why that is one of the biggest issue in the country, right? And if government is providing, let's say, interest-free loan, then whoever, people, in general investment, they don't think about the investment, they just try to take the loan and do something, right? Because they are getting some free money, it's something like that. Likewise, whenever government design this type of incentive, the way that they design should be changed. Rather than providing this loan and other things, government can directly, develop their, develop their skills, right? That is also kind of subsidies, but if you have enough skills, then you have incentive to start your own business or something like that. Say for example, in rural settings, suppose a lot of women are there, they don't have any skill, therefore they are being at home and they are not doing anything, they are not contributing to any production, right? But if government, rather than giving free money or interest-free loan or whatever, if government can government can train them how to, make some handicraft or whatever, right? New things, right? And put it into the market. How to, start your own business like hair cutting or whatever, small scale business, right? That would be more effective than giving direct this type of subsidies, right? Yeah.
What kind of reforms have to be introduced?
Yes, I guess that you mean the overall economy, right?
Yes.
Overall economy. Then in overall economy, as I clearly mentioned you earlier, first we need to identify what type of area that we are having the comparative advantage. That is the key, right? Rather than depending on agricultural sector, and also rather than putting entire burden, right, on agricultural, economic burden on subsidies, right? What we need to do is we need to think a little bit beyond what we are doing at the moment, right? Do we need the agricultural sector? What is the benefit of, having it, or cost of maintaining it? That is one of the biggest issue, right? We need the agricultural sector, but the issue is at what cost we have to maintain it, right? That is the issue. Now, if the cost is higher than the benefit, I don't think that it's worth, right? Now, likewise, we need to identify the potential investment area with the comparative advantages. After that, we need to provide some, not only cash or monetary, but some other type of secondary level investment, infrastructure development or whatever, right? Now, say for example, if you think about the service sector in Sri Lanka, we have a lot of comparative advantages of having private universities in the country. I mean, why that is one of the biggest things, right? And also tourism sector, and we haven't taken the locational of Sri Lanka, right? Locational advantages. Likewise, we have very good potential investment areas in Sri Lanka. We need to focus those things and encourage the investment, right? Let me tell you a very simple example. We are maintaining these various plantation sectors, right? Big plantation companies. Now, I mean, government spend a lot of money to, maintain this plantation as the subsidy, and also plantation companies also temporarily they are investing huge amount of money. There are, very poor people who are working in this plantation sector, right? If you think about the entire cost and benefit of maintaining this plantation, maybe state or whatever, the real cost maybe is definitely higher than the benefit, right? Now, always what we are thinking is, yes, we need the tea, we need to maintain it, right? What I am saying is, forget about those things. Why we don't allow foreign universities to start their university in those areas, right? I mean, you don't need the plantation. A lot of job opportunities will be created. You can earn a lot of, foreign, if you can attract good students from other countries, you can have more benefit. You can attract definitely foreign, domestic students. Again, you can have some benefit, right? And likewise, what I am saying is, rather than being in the same, maybe well or whatever the limit, we need to think beyond this limit and come up with strategies to develop the economy, right?
Will you share some experience from your research projects related to your suggestions?
There are so many things that I can explain, right? There are so many interesting things. Without going too much details, let me take very simple example about the candy traffic. Everyone is facing, right? Now, there are so many suggestions and so many policy aspects about these candy traffic issues. Some are arguing that we need to have the one way, some are arguing with we need to develop more roads, some are, likewise we have different, policy aspect, right? But we did a bit of analysis and we identify what causes the traffic congestion in the city, right? If you think about today, every day, right? Around 350,000 passengers from outside are entering to the city, right? That's 350,000. Out of this, 200,000 passengers are coming by the 5,000 buses. That's means 200,000 passengers are coming by 5,000, only 5,000 buses, right? Then another 100,000, that is 2,000 is transferred by 5,000 buses, right? Another 100,000 passengers are coming by 45,000 vehicles. Can you believe this, right? Now the issue is here. If you can control this 100,000 in somehow, there's no traffic, right? If you have additionally, suppose at present the situation in buses are not good. Suppose you implement, you are going to have a very good, condition is all buses. Then replacing another 1,500 buses, 1,500 can stop all these 45,000 vehicles entering into the city, right? Now, this is what I am saying, that solution is very simple, right? But what we need is a bit of analysis and understand the real issue. That's a very good example, right? And that is one thing. The second thing, we did a lot of studies on agriculture sector in Sri Lanka, and we found that, in general, now, there are so many subsidies, but if you think about the fertilizer subsidies, right? Every year government spend last year government spent 32 billion, right? I mean, entire Umawa projects worth around 70 billion, double saving of 2 years subsidies, right?
Yeah.
Now 32 billion. Now this 32 billion, if you divide this 32 billion by total number of paddy kilo that we are producing, you get 1 kilo subsidy, right? That is 7 rupees. 7 rupees. I mean, if you multiply this 7 rupees from the average number of kilos which can be produced per hectare, you can get the total subsidies per hectare, right? That is, average number is 4,500 kilos. If you multiply it by 7, you get roughly 30,000. That means each hectare is getting 30,000 rupees as the subsidies, right? Then what we did was this 30,000, whether there is other way of giving this 30,000 to farmers rather than giving money, right? At the moment, money or fertilizer directly farmers are getting 30,000 worth, right? 30,000 worth things farmers are getting. What we try to understand that if you can give this 30,000 in some other ways to farmers, you don't want to give the fertilizer subsidy because farmers are getting the equal amount from other sources, right? We investigated whether we can improve the productivity, right? Now, now average productivity in Sri Lanka is very low. If you can increase the productivity by 15%, right? 15% from current level, then that is similar to 30,000. If you increase the productivity, the overall production yield will increase. If you multiply that increased yield by the price, you get 30,000 worth, right? 30,000 worth. 50% increase of yield is very simply you can do, right? I mean, implementing very good, agricultural extension service, you could easily increase 20%. That's what we found in our research, right? Now, therefore, I mean, if you have a system like that, then win-win situation. Government is winning because government doesn't want to provide more subsidies, right? And also farmers have some incentive to encourage, increase their own yield, right? Therefore, it's a kind of win-win situation. Now, likewise, this is what we need. We need to find some alternative mechanism to address some of the existing inherited problem in the economy.
Thank you very much for your valuable information. That's really interesting. In conclusion, what is the immediate step to put forward by the government to place the economy on a long-term economic growth plan?
Right. What I am having suggestion in different ways, right? I mean, first thing is we need to have a very good plan for the economy. In the planning process, you need to identify what are the comparative advantages, what we are having the comparative advantages, what we are not having the comparative advantages, and so on, right? This planning process is very important, planning and targeting. Then that is the first thing. The second thing, we need to have a very good stability in the economy, right? In order to achieve this stability in the history, what we believe that you need to have the exchange rate to be stable, right? And inflation may be lower, unemployment may be lower, and those type of macroeconomic variables should be stable. That's the idea. To me, those are traditional variables. Today, nobody is thinking about what is your inflation rate, what is your unemployment rate, what is your foreign investors. They don't care about those things, right? They don't care about those things. What they look at is whether we have economic freedom in your country, right? Whether we have a good investment environment in your country, whether we have a good governance in your country, right? Those indicators are the more important to attract or increase the investment in the country, right? Therefore, government should take necessary action to have a stability of those indicators, right, rather than this traditional economic variable. Then there's the second point. Third point is Sri Lanka always, even the Karl Marx especially highlighted, right? People's mindset is basically determined by the existing economic environment. That's the main argument of the Marx, right? People who are living in slum, right? Their mindset is determined by the around environment, economic activity. People who are living in the university, their mindset is determined by the university environment, economic activity related that, right? Likewise, mindset is determined by the economy, right? Therefore, what I am saying that we should not try to change the people attitudes, behavior, people's mindset. It is useless, right? What we should change is the economy. Then the other will change, right? That's the idea.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your cooperation.